Spiritual boundaries should be as important as your heartbeat. That should be at the top of your priority list if you're interested in walking or remembering that you're already on the spiritual path. Because you could find yourself in a lot of situations you actually don't want to be in. You thought it was cool because it sounded good, but when you actually get in it, you say, this is not for me. But because you didn't put a spiritual boundary in place, it's just going to keep happening. Peace unto you. My name is Nadiie, and today is all about the importance of spiritual boundaries. Let us begin. See, at a foundation, what you must understand about spiritual boundaries is only prioritize what you can control and leave the rest to source, aka God. The only thing that you can control is these three things, but they're actually one and the same. Your consciousness, your frequency, and how you choose to see yourself. These are the only things you have control over. You don't even control your breath. That's the tree's job. If the trees say no more oxygen, guess who's not breathing? Stop focusing on everything outside of your world, your own reality. You don't control the way people see you. I don't care if you and that person has been in love for who knows how long. If one day they say, I'm over you, they're over you. You cannot change that. The seed has been planted and watered. It doesn't matter. Focus on the true intention. The only thing you can really focus on and control is your consciousness, your frequency, and how you see yourself. Now, when you really operate out of that lens, oh my gosh, a weight gets lifted off of your shoulders. Just shifting this perception about yourself literally is going to empty your cup so much that miracles are going to start happening in your life. Don't believe me? Do it. Become it. Live it. Don't just take the vessel's word for it. Actually apply it. Say, okay, today I'm not going to focus on my friends. I'm not going to focus on my relationship. I'm not going to focus on my job. I'm not going to focus on my house. I'm not going to focus on anything. I know all is in place. Already, did all my plans and stuff last week or, yesterday, a few days ago, whatever the case may be. Today, I'm only going to focus on my consciousness, my frequency, and how I choose to see myself. If something happens that's funny, I'm going to focus on myself. I'm going to pay attention to what's happening, what thoughts are coming in my brain, or what thoughts am I allowing to come in my brain? What frequency am I at? Is the ringing in my ears at a high octave or a low octave, or, a semi-balanced octave? What type of feeling am I feeling? Is my heart center open? Am I really super deep in emotions? What's going on? Analyze yourself, because that's all you have control over. And then what's going to happen is God is going to look at you and be like, oh, wow, you're actually following the path now of the masters. All right, let's send miracles this person's way. And you'll find out that it's really not miracles being sent. It's miracles stepping up because they've been in a line, a waiting line, and they're waiting for your permission. But your cup is so full of this world, of this illusion, you don't have any room for miracles. The reason why miracles aren't showing up in people's day-to-day is because you haven't maneuvered your pathway in such a way to where there's room. There's no room. People don't have room for source. They don't have room for God. You might think you do, but let a master come in and say, all right, let's go on a spiritual trip to Sedona. Let's see how much resistance shows up. But my friends, my kids, my dog, no. God will find a way, but you're not allowing that which is miraculous to settle in. See, there's so much resistance, and for you to align yourself with spiritual boundaries, you literally must find out where your traumas are, your triggers are, and where is the most resistance. Sometimes you're not supposed to go at the resistance head on like you're a spirit warrior. Sometimes you got to go around it and deal with it on the back end. Get your affairs in order, get your foundation in place before you start trying to tackle resistance, because resistance, trauma, and triggers are really all the same boss. It's like the last level of a video game. And if you haven't got all the gear in place, if you haven't leveled up and did all the side missions before you try to do the last boss, guess what's finna happen? You're finna get smacked, stomped on. And you're going to be like, bro, God, why'd you put me on this path? I never want to be spiritual again. You're going to throw all your stuff away. Trust. Because it happened to me. I threw everything spiritual away. You think I'm a master? Oh, this master has been through some things where I was like, man, forget it. I'm giving up. And me giving up was a part of the path. Because it was just like, how attached are you to all of this stuff? And I was like, if this stuff is going to happen, I don't need any of this. I'm just going to have my own will. And God was like, yes. All the quote unquote dark beings was like, no. Literally, they actually manifested in physicality and was screaming no. I got a story on that if y'all are interested, but I might save that for the mystery school. So if you're interested in joining our mystery school, DM me and I'll give you our free 3-day course. Because if you aren't willing to dedicate at least 3 days to God while you're trying to join the mystery school, some of the details in that story is not going to fly on this public platform. But yeah, I threw everything away. I emptied my cup. And what happened is right after that, there was like a few weeks of me building myself up because I was extremely terrified of everything because the stuff that was going on. I'm like, this should not be happening. But then certain masters were coming to me in the spirit realms and they were saying, Nadiie, the only people that get targeted are the people that matter or the people that have the gift. They wouldn't be focusing on you if you didn't have anything. So look at this as a good thing. And I was like, oh, I had to shift my perception. And then I came back stronger. I came back like, you know what I'm saying, John Cena walking out, WrestleMania. Dun, 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 dun. It was lit. And then all of my abilities and gifts started to happen and started to reappear. And it's really all because I said, listen, I'm going to empty my cup and I'm going to allow God to fill it. This is all part of spiritual boundaries because you got to get to this part before you can really start laying spiritual boundaries. People think they got spiritual boundaries in place, but if you got spiritual boundaries in place, why are you still seeing ratchet videos? Why are you still having the urge to fight people if they, cut you off in the road? If someone calls you out your name and someone calls you a slur, why are you so willing to fight? I thought you had spiritual boundaries. Oh, you're not as spiritual as you thought you were. If you can imagine Yeshua or Buddha or Krishna or Yogananda or all of these ascended masters doing the acts of ego, then don't ever claim yourself to be a spiritual person or a master. You can say I have a spirit, I'm on a spiritual path, but don't claim yourself to be living the light. If you're still being easily triggered, if your traumas is still, if you still have twitches when they just flash by your memory, all of these things are tests. If you still have resistance. If someone's trying to teach you about astral projection so you can meet the masters that people revere and you still have, resistance because the old religion that you subscribed to from years ago is coming back up because you didn't know it was within you, you still got things to work on, so accept it. I'm telling you, the moment you throw all of these things out, all of your gifts, when I say I threw everything away in order to really hone in on these spiritual boundaries, I threw every single spiritual thing away, hundreds of thousands of dollars. Gone. Didn't matter. And then once I got settled in, you talk to source, A.K.A. God. You say, God, you speak plainly as if it was your homeboy or homegirl. You say, listen, I've been through X, Y, and Z, and you know what happened. I'm much stronger now, but I know it serves for me to not go through those things again. I understand why I went through them. It's cool. Let me experience that which is spirituality in a more humorous way. Let me experience that which is spirituality in a more loving way, a more softer way, or a more brash way, a more hard way, a more in your face, a more blunt way. You really got to talk to source and you have to be like that. Don't try to go and get some mantra and all of that. Stop. Right now, it's about direct access to God. And God doesn't care about the cool little things you can do with your words. Talk. What do you want? Speaking you shall receive. Speak plainly. God, they tripping. Please get them before I do. This is not coming out of ego. I just don't like seeing my people like this. And guide me to seeing as you see. You always end it like that. If you start off with ego, end it with God, guide me to seeing as you see. And then your whole perception of life is going to change. This is how you set spiritual boundaries. You deal with your stuff. You expose the wound because the only way to heal a wound is to expose it. And then you talk to God bluntly and directly and say, this is how I want my path to go, but I'm going to see as you see because you may have me go somewhere else. If you're interested in joining our mystery school or booking a session with me, click that link in the bio. And with that, we say welcome home.